My name is Anthony Manuel Ortega Jr., and I grew up in Southern California in a little town called Cerritos. Was raised by my single mother and older sister till I was roughly 9 years old. Life for me growing up was pretty interesting. I got to see the good and bad at a young age. My parents bounced around a lot, so living with them was kind of unstructured. So I kind of did whatever I wanted to do. Living with my grandparents was very structured. So there was rules and regulations. So I played the system. I went back and forth. So as a child, I had to grow up real fast. I knew at a young age what it felt like to not be loved because my family growing up associated me with my biological father. And so I took on at a very young age that I'm all alone, and if I'm gonna make it, I gotta do for me. And that's when I joined gangs. That's when I started with the drugs, and that's when my life kind of spiraled down there. Being introduced at a young age to the church, I knew what I was doing wasn't right, but at the time I needed to survive. It was about survival. So I did what I had to do, and I joined gang. Didn't like it. So at 17, I joined the military and felt that I could finally be proud of something. So when I told my family, thinking that they would be proud of me, they actually disowned and shunned me. I got back from the military in a mess, you know. Combat does a number on a person. So when I came home, I didn't know how to go home. So I didn't. I ended up on the streets, downtown LA, Skid Row. Spent 3 years living on the streets, digging out of trash cans, begging for food. I just completely gave up on myself. One day, I was sitting in a room and I was gonna kill myself. I had a gun, I had it loaded, and I was prepared to leave this world. Literally seconds before I pulled the trigger, my phone rang, and it was my niece. It caused me to not do what I was gonna do. And she called me, and you know, she just wanted to say that she loved me and she was thinking about me, and she just wanted me to know that. From that day forward, I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what. I couldn't do it on my own. So I dropped to my knees and I prayed to God, and I said, come into my life, help me. You know, from the moment I decided to give my life to Christ and to start serving the Lord is when my life really took off in a positive way. You know, the darkness was gone, the light shined. You know, I moved to Oregon, I met a good church family, I have a house, I got a good job, you know, and the positive outweighs the negative tremendously. And it's just a matter of saying, you know what, Lord, I want you in my life, I need you in my life. And to not worry about the negative, to not worry about what you've been through, but to start living for the Lord and start saying, okay, you know what, from this point, I'm gonna live for Him, and I'm gonna put myself aside, and I'm gonna do His will. The transformation's amazing. I think if anything, the one thing that I would want somebody to get out of my testimony or out of my story, the one thing I guess that just keeps going over and over in my head right now is God is real. He's real. He's real. He's alive. Even if you don't think you deserve it, He's been with you the whole time. I wouldn't be sitting here today if God wasn't in my life. And that seed was planted at 9 years old. And I ran from it every chance I got, and He still stood there. He was still faithful. He was still caring for me, even when I didn't care for myself, and even when I didn't care for Him. You know, He never left me. He never abandoned me. And I couldn't even love myself. And when I learned that God was real and that he had been with me this entire time, even through the bad, even through the times where I felt I didn't deserve it, knowing that he was there and that he carried me through and he allowed me to see certain things, it's just amazing. It's just, you know what, me, of all these people in all the world, me, he helped me. When my own family said you're nothing, when my friends said you're nothing, when everyone else in the world said you're nothing, he said you're something to me. The person who created the world told me I mean something to him. If God can be for me, who can be against me? So I'm living for him now. Any chance I get is for him.
For I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength.